Today is May 16th. We're crooked. How's that? That's crooked. How's that? I don't know. I look fantastic as always. Cassie dog. So, we've talked ever so briefly about what it's like to teach yoga, what it's like to even study this as a, when I was a student. You're always a student. That's not always true. You have to have a student's mindset, and that's what I want to talk about today. Since the creation of power yoga, no. Let's start again. I would venture to guess that ever since there has been people doing yoga, there has been some misunderstanding about what it is to do yoga. The more I think about this, the more it nets back in on itself. All yoga starts in here. Some yoga comes out in the body and you do postures, you do asanas. And one of the original purposes of asanas are to quiet the mind. And it's interesting because I think it was Matobu Sensei who said, before you can teach anyone karate, you have to drill them and make them train until they're so just dripping wet with sweat that they collapse. And then you can throw a bucket of water on them and revive them, and then they are ready to begin to learn karate. Because it's at that moment that they're too exhausted to question things that don't have answers yet. Why don't those things have answers? Because in the case of both disciplines, yoga and martial arts, the answers don't come from outside. The answers don't come from outside. The answers come from within. And that sounds like some woo-woo bullshit. It's not. I'm not talking about connecting to the moon or some whatever. I'm talking about a lot of honest, deep, internal reflection. I'm talking about learning to ask the right questions, and a lot of times finding answers to those questions on your own. A sensei, or I would hope in this case a yoga teacher, is like a part-time guide. And if you think about it for a minute, if you think about that there's 24 hours in a day, and on Monday, one of those hours you spend on your mat, whether your mat is in the dojo or in a yoga studio, it doesn't matter. 1 hour of that 20... Really? Right now is when you want to do this. Go do it! Chomp, you gonna stand for that? Let's say 24 hours a day, Monday, one of those hours you spend on your mat, either in a dojo or in a yoga studio, it doesn't matter. How can you possibly expect this person to give you all the answers when they only see you for 1 hour? And you're probably not even present for that entire time. The practice starts in here, and then it manifests into movement. And when you settle into movement and you quiet the mind, your answers lead you to more questions. And it's your job, and it's not easy. It's up to you to find the depth and width of your practice. It's up to you to seek out unnecessary tension in your postures. An instructor can give you guidance and ideas and suggestions, but I don't know how you feel. Most people don't know how they feel. How many of us answer every day, hey, how you doing? Good. We're not doing good. We've got a load of stress on our shoulders from the world at large. And we say, good. How are you? I'm great. Coffee's great. Isn't the coffee great? Oh, it's great. Can't wait to go to this meeting at 9 o'clock. This meeting that should have been an email, right? It's up to you as a student to pursue your own journey. Anything your instructors do is a temporary lending of their experience and their passion and their point of view, and some of it is going to be great, and you're going to say, wow, I relate to that. That resonates with me. I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to scrutinize it, and I'm going to hold it, and some of that stuff, you're going to just pick that stuff up, and you're going to be like, this is garbage, I don't need any of that. And some of it's going to lead you somewhere else. And some of it you're going to pick up later, and be like, all this time, if only I knew. There's a certain degree, there's a certain element where an instructor or a sensei, their responsibility is to challenge you. But it's not always the challenge that you're looking for. Would that really be challenging? Think about it. We're conditioned to get ready for the big race. The fact of the matter is, you don't know what the race is. Nobody knows. Till the moment you gotta cope, till the moment you gotta deal with it, till the moment you're gonna make that decision, or understand that idea, or have that conversation. If you're sitting there on your mat and you're thinking about fried chicken or fruit salad or whatever, if you're texting somebody, which I've seen during a class, if you have not explored the depths and movements of your postures as far as you know how to, you're doing yourself a disservice. And the more I think about it, like at first I thought to myself, this is different. This is what makes yoga different than calisthenics or weightlifting or anything else. And that's false. Because you can be a mindful bodybuilder. You can have a deep, reflective calisthenics practice. I never met Master Odo, the guy who was responsible for the karate system that I used to practice in all the time. He used to say, 2 hands, 2 feet, 1 brain, think. And one meaning of that is that there's only so many ways to move. So if your instructor pops you into Warrior 2, and your thought process is, gosh, this is easy, I wish they'd turn it up a notch, maybe, instead of looking outside, what are you destroying? Cassie! She loves to eat my yucca. Cassie dog. Maybe, instead of seeking some external pressure to make that Warrior 2 longer or deeper or narrower, or closing your eyes or stilling your breath or focusing on something other than the hubris of how easy it feels, maybe focus internally instead. Just maybe take responsibility for your own practice. One hour is how much time you have on the mats with the students. And you have to set space, and you have to ground everybody, and you're going to bring everybody back together. I mean, this guy came from his job, and this person just came from an argument with their spouse, and that person just came from dropping their kids off at the babysitters, and all of these disparate energy levels come into the room, and you got to chill everybody out, ground everybody, then lift everybody back up, and then get into the flow. Get into the flow. Provide something for everybody, which you can't. Someone in that room will find themselves overwhelmed or underwhelmed, even if they're being introspective. And then here's the real kicker. If you're in a class and you find that for whatever reason it's just not physically challenging enough for you, then work on your patience. There's a litany of emotions and ideas that I could go down. Patience is one. Work on your grace, your finesse. Work on your ease in those postures. But don't sit there and not only look for external validation, but cast external blame. You're responsible for you. As much as there's an instructor in that room, all they can do is present to you what they present. You take that lesson and you learn something from it. Ideally, you're going to learn something that's a virtue, something that's beneficial, something that's going to add more sweetness to your life. Preferably, you're not going to learn angst and frustration and anger and disrespect. I understand that there's a market for boot camp style fitness programs. I don't run them. I'm not trying to brag. It's not a humble brag, and it's not a regular brag. I didn't think basic training was hard. Because the idea of being stressed because someone was yelling at me to do something that I had signed up to do seemed stupid to me. I signed a paper to be there. So why be upset about being yelled at? Yeah, you yelled at like all the time, and you work out till you puke like the first 4 weeks. So what? This too shall pass. Making myself get up every day on my own without being accountable to somebody. Being self-employed has been the most difficult thing I've ever done for myself. I'm accountable to me. And I can let myself off the hook real easy. And that's my challenge. My challenge has always been in here. I've always been a cerebral kind of thinker, I guess. Cerebral kind of guy. It's not always done me good. It's gotten me into plenty of trouble. I thought the physical, let's be clear, I thought the physical aspects of basic training were easy. I got myself, and my mouth got myself into a lot of trouble in basic because I thought I was a smart ass. No, let's reframe that. I thought I was smart, and what I was a smart ass. I've had a little bit of time since that experience. I have never been in a yoga class that I have not found something to work on. I have not found something on offer from the instructor that I have picked up and held like a gift. If you want to learn how to bake and you go to an auto body school, you are going to be sorely disappointed. You're going to walk around and be all pissed off that you don't know how to cook tasty confections. Meanwhile, you're just going to disregard the fact that you can do an alignment, drop an engine block, whatever. Lift an engine block, drop a transmission. I don't do so much work on the vehicle unless it's a life or death situation. My point is, you can miss the forest for the trees. You can go to the beach and bitch that you're not at the mountains. You can go to the mountains and complain that you're not in a jungle. You can go to a beautiful jungle waterfall vista and holler at the top of your lungs that you aren't in a desert riding the dunes in a dune buggy. Or you can focus inward. You can take a deep breath. And you can pay attention to what's happening right now. And you can see what's on offer, and maybe there's something there for you. Maybe. This is a good long video, isn't it? May 16th of my 365-day challenge. Thanks for joining me on my practice today. Namaste.